Oh, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to General Assembly. My name is Dwayne Pender. I'm your speaker. Applause. Oh, okay. Yeah, Bruce couldn't be here, so I'm stepping in for the day. And I'm going to reinstitute something that I've missed for a while, the phrase of the week. And the phrase of the week is vote. Thursday and Friday, USG elections. All right, cool. We'll get started with attendance.
Representative Ateshalu.
President voting.
Representative Bagat.
President voting.
Representative Crawley. Representative Haas. Representative Hamilton.
President voting.
Representative Hammond. Representative Kawashima.
President voting.
Representative Mikowski. Representative Matthews. Representative Moser.
President voting.
Representative O'Brien.
President voting.
Representative Pandat. Representative Perlowski. Representative Shim.
President voting.
Representative Baisley.
President voting.
Representative Bell.
President voting.
Representative Downey.
President, I'm here to vote.
Representative Hoffman.
President voting.
Representative Lupton.
President voting.
Representative McCachran.
President voting.
Representative Shillo.
President voting.
Representative Villano. Representative Zoltan. Representative Brubaker.
President voting.
Representative Renard.
President voting.
Sorry. Representative Pak. Representative In. Representative Fernandez.
President voting.
Representative Sedana. Representative Asaf.
President voting.
Representative Moeller.
President and voting.
Representative Radensick. Representative Ionity.
President voting.
Representative Irizarry.
President voting.
Representative Zhang.
President voting.
Representative Irick. Representative Lux. Representative Tyken. Treasurer Shaw.
Present.
Speaker Douglas isn't here. Parliamentarian Agarwal.
Present.
Vice President Nguyen.
President voting.
Vice President Thompson.
President voting.
Vice President Sanford.
President voting.
Vice President Wang.
President voting.
Vice President Weber.
President voting.
President Pender.
President voting. Are there any guests with us in attendance? Okay, seeing none, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
You okay?
All right, we'll get started with committee reports with mine. I hope everybody had a good weekend. First things first, this week is campaign week, so I want to wish all the candidates good luck in your campaigns. Please keep things fair and respectful. You only have 2 more days, so I wish you all luck. I can't wait to see who the next USG representatives and executive officers are. There are some notes about the last SEC meeting. Please keep your questions for the points or come talk to me after if you do have any questions. Big announcement that I really wanted to highlight in GA. The university will have its first performing arts center. Yeah, I know some of you got this really cryptic email from Dean Taylor about a big announcement. I got a chance to attend, and it was really cool. The mayor was there. There was a really big donation for the Maltz Family Foundation, and because of that, we'll have our first performing arts center. The theater, music, and dance departments will be housed there, so it's going to be a really good space. It's going to be a $25 million renovation, and we're looking at about a 3-year timeline. So really exciting for the university, so you guys should all be really excited. A couple quick things. If you noticed, our GAs, our agendas are on 2 pages. This came out of a recommendation from the Engineering Caucus Students with Dwayne, just saying how we can be more sustainable, and it looks really good, so I think this will be the current practice moving forward. Also, if you did notice, another thing that came out of our dinners with Dwayne was pre-submitting announcements just so that people aren't throwing out things off the top of their head for 15 minutes after GAs. To be more efficient with time, please submit your announcements before GA this Tuesday on Tuesday at 5 o'clock so that we can keep our GAs most efficient as possible, okay? I think that's everything. Do you guys have any questions? I'm open to points. Representative Lupton.
Yeah, it says that there's going to be a walkway built over the street
Yep.
to connect the Maltz building.
Yeah.
So this building is going to be that gold dome
Mhm.
building. So is that going to go over the lagoon? Like, that's what I'm visualizing.
I think it's going to go over MLK. So I think we would have to walk around the lagoon and then you would walk over MLK to get over there.
Okay, so,
Yep.
and another question would be, there's something in your board report that says about the SEC referendum.
Yep.
You guys, somebody proposed that 20% should be taken.
Yep.
Instead of the full amount.
Yep.
Can you touch on the rationale?
So the rationale, that's basically,
20%.
so it's doing some calculations on some of the things that are really, really exclusive within the Greek life budgets, some of the leadership academies, Order of Omega chords and recognition, some of the things that are strictly specific to Greeks and that can't be open to the entire campus community. And it averaged out to be about 40% of their overall budget, 20% per semester. So that's the rationale. Yep. Representative Pulaski.
Maybe too early for them to tell, but are they planning on raising enough funds to restore the center and then continually raising funds to build the walkway, or to get it open as soon as possible, or are they going to wait for the full amount to really get things going?
I think that what I was told was there's money still to be raised, but because of the big donation, they were allowed to make the announcement. But plans haven't been drawn up, and they probably won't be drawn up until the rest of the money is raised. Any other questions? All right, Vice President Nguyen.
So weird hearing you say that. I have no report. Student life will not be meeting this week, and I'm open to points. Thank you.
Vice President Weber.
Everyone can see the timeline that is including the board report. Finance Committee still has like 90% of everything you do left to do still, so and we can start on that on Friday. So I'm open to points.
Thank you. Vice President Wang.
I met with Provost Bazelak 2 days ago to talk about the 42 credit hour cap. For those of you who weren't at GA, as I explained, this is currently in the College of Arts and Sciences. You can only take a maximum amount of 42 credit hours in each department, and that begs a bigger question of what exactly a liberal arts education is. And I asked this to Provost Bazelak, and he says it's a nationally debated topic. Each university does this at its own discretion. And I've kind of looked into some of the other schools, such as Duke University and Washington University. How they do it is that they have a simple distinction between BS and BA. If you decide to go above 42 credit hours, then that is just a simple BS. Now, sorry, that didn't come out right. Now, as far as if they want to take away credit hours when they exceed a certain amount beyond a BA, that policy I had no luck finding. CASE doesn't even post its policy about, taking off credit hours after you exceed 42. So that is something I will continue to work on, and I am open to points.
Can you explain this to somebody who's just not in arts and sciences? I don't understand. So after, say you have 42 credit hours, you take another class. That class does not count for anything? Or do they actually subtract credit hours? So if you had 42 and then you take another class, then you have 39.
According to Dean Wolkowitz, how the procedure will work is, let's say you've reached the 42 maximum and you have an additional class from that department. They're going to see if that class you're taking can be cross-applied to another department. So that's what they'll do first. If not, then it doesn't count.
How prevalent of an issue is this?
It's just recently been brought to my attention. I know a few of my friends in the econ and political science department, wanted to take new courses. New courses are offered every year, and they found out that when they took it, it didn't count towards their graduation because it exceeded 42. So I think it is pretty prevalent.
I switched from a BS to a BA, and I have that are in this section on my DPR or whatever that just says like not, it, like has this really awesome title, like does not fall under any category ever, and they're just there. So, I mean, it does happen because for the BA, you hit the 30 credit hours and that's exactly what you have, and then if you take any more, it just like.
You have a similar situation with Chris Hernandez, and I think it does make it very prevalent for students who does switch from a BS to a BA. So I will also ask that, so whoever the next Vice President of Academic Affairs is, will have him or her tackle that. Yes.
I just would also encourage you to bring it up from a standpoint of people who switch into the College of Arts and Sciences, because again, I've had similar problems where I've taken a lot of engineering classes and they fall into that, like, well, this is a good job, like, you know, this is nice. So then when you try and take like a lot of, if you have a lot of things from one category, it just, you can't even put them into electives or general education requirements anymore.
Certainly will.
Thank you. Please refer any questions you have to Vice President Wang after GA. Vice President Sanford.
I yield my time to Election Commissioner Mueller, Representative Zhang, Bell, and O'Brien.
All right, so rep spotlights again. We got some fun ones today, I think. I'm going to start off this one with just an interesting response to this person's question. The one thing this representative couldn't live without is their palm. Also, this person's...
Allen County?
Wow. Yes.
Because he's the only person in the entire world still using a palm.
Yep. Get it? Yep. And just for a little fun facts, he responded, apparently his middle name is Sherwood. Yes, Sherwood Downey.
Are you going to be putting those on your flyers, or?
I just...
I could read a little edit.
Yeah. I really like these. So, born and raised, I lived the first 2 years of my life in a log cabin before moving into town. Scared of nothing. And strangest thing I've ever done is eaten a half gallon of ice cream in 4.5 minutes.
Cool.
Talk about interesting. All right.
Okay, another one, whose major is senior political science and the international studies as major, and born in the South Korea. Okay. Yep, correct.
There you go.
Read some more fun.
Okay, the one thing you want to be able to live without is owner, and the favorite ice cream is Haagen-Dazs. Maybe.
Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah,
All right,
Haagen-Dazs.
and I'd say the best thing is the strangest thing he's ever eaten is alligator steak. All right.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, I'm just going to be giving a brief board report, some events to keep in mind, Relay for Life, which we'll be hearing more from Amy. Springfest is coming up. We're going to be doing like a shooting the ducks type of thing. Duck pond. We're not going to be shooting anything. Okay. So all the caucuses, we're going to have all the caucuses sign up and have a time to rep the booth so we can get everybody involved. Twing Study is coming over. Twing Study Over is coming up, so we'll be working on that. And also today during the meeting, we talked about kind of rearranging the structure of Public Relations Committee. So if you have any, we're considering several different models. If you have any suggestions or thoughts or anything from your own personal experience, I think Jack would be more than willing to receive your comments. I'm open to points. Emily.
I was talking to Stephanie Crowley about this last week, and she was telling me about like the different models that you are looking at. Why weren't these models implemented sooner so that we could like fill if like multiple positions become available, like so that we could have fulfilled them during this election? Is there a reason like we're waiting?
I believe it's just sort of making sure, taking the time and making sure what we do the right thing. We don't want to rush it for any reason, although
For the separate but equal one, if you look at it, was split it into two different committees, that would require a constitutional change. So they wanted that to be gone over during executive retreat, where they will not this year's exec and next year's exec will discuss that and see if that's what they want to implement, rather than implementing it now and being like, well, let's see if this works, So
Okay.
it was just something we wanted to discuss.
some of the changes have been implemented over the course of this year, like different, we kind of tried different structures out this year. And a lot of this came out of conversations with not only Stephanie Crowley, but also Bruce and Adam Root, which covers the last 4 vice presidents of PR. So this has kind of been an ongoing thing for this entire year. And while it may seem like this is coming late, it's kind of making sure that whatever structure the next VP of PR chooses is right for the next GA. Because for our exec to make this decision right now, it's not going to be our GA next year. It's going to be you guys. So.
Thanks.
Hi, General Assembly. Polls open Thursday. This is the best or worst week of the year, depending on how you look at things. So polls open Thursday at 8 a.m. Starting then, only neutral reminders are allotted, period. Send concerns to usgelection@case.edu. Our election commission decisions will be sent out to candidates tonight. We met before GA. We reviewed some of our decisions. I just really need to emphasize that these decisions are made by all the members of the commission, taking into consideration the bylaws with the goal of maintaining equal footing among the candidates. I'm open to points.
Vice President Thompson.
What is one specific thing that candidates should not do?
Mass email. That was the main problem that we've had over the last days. I'm sorry, I'm a little glazed over.
Representative Pulaski.
When polls do open, are you planning on sending an email to the student body that details exactly how to vote? Because a lot of people have been confused mentioning collegiate like if they've never been exposed to that before.
Absolutely. Considering it's a new system, that will definitely be happening.
Representative Hamilton. Representative Bell.
I had my girlfriend go on Collegiate Link or whatever, just, to make sure they didn't have to like register everything just so they could log in. And she said just logging in, it's just a normal login, but she felt confused when she was brought to the new page. So do you think that it's going to be difficult for elections this year just for people being a little confused when they're going through? Because I know the longer it takes a person to vote, the less likely they are to vote.
That's true. Hopefully my explanation in the email I send out Thursday morning will be clear enough that those intricacies are kind of dealt with. Also, Qdoba on Thursday. We'll be there to help people if they come and get Qdoba at 11:30.
Representative Downey.
So do people have to do any extra registering steps, or is it just get on there, log on, you're done, that's it?
Skylar, do you know anything?
Yeah, you just log in.
Okay, that's it, that's all I have to do. Okay.
Representative Haas.
I know in the past, I'm not sure which of the past years, but like for arts and sciences, there's 14 positions and I think more than that running. I think in the past, sometimes you've been able to click all of them and then those votes were thrown out. Is it possible that, and also our alumni can be able to vote again?
No.
I think that happened one year. So are we, like, is it not going to let you click more than 14? Or can that be also written in that email saying your vote will be thrown out if you vote for more than allowed?
Skylar.
How I believe it's programmed, it'll say like, for arts and sciences, choose a maximum of 14 people. And then it'll have check marks. And so if you choose more than 14 people and you hit submit, it'll be like, no, choose 14.
Oh, so it will work.
Yeah.
Can you choose less than 14?
Probably. I'll check on that though.
Representative Baisley.
Did we get any letters of intent for PPIT?
We have 3 people running, Stephen Lee, Sam Roberts, and Kelly Maloney.
Representative Fernandez.
You don't have your major declared, how are people going to vote and who are they going to vote for?
If you're undeclared, you pick a constituency for the purpose of the election. So you'll choose either arts and sciences, engineering, Weatherhead, whatever, and you'll get to vote for that.
Okay. All right, any questions? Please see Election Commissioner Mola after. Thanks. Vice President Thompson.
So the IT committee had a very productive meeting yesterday. We finished up the two major things that were still not working on the website. They were the archives and the general assembly page. The links didn't work. And so now the archives are completely done, except for this year's agendas. I'm going to be working with Amy to recreate those because they don't exist on the old site for some reason. I don't know why. But so you should be able to go to it and find everything you need now. Open points.
Representative Bell.
I actually logged out on it, and I'm trying to go to the representative resources page on USU's site. You know that?
The one on the left?
Yes. And you know, log in.
Right.
You're not authorized.
Talk to Jackie.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have to all be authorized, so I can input everyone into the system, and I have that route to putting everyone in it. And that site is not entirely finished, so even if you are able, even if any of you have access already, which some of you do, the site's not completed yet, but I will make sure that you're all authorized, and if there's anything you want added to the site, please check it out and let me know.
President Wayne.
Say a vice president and his secretary wants to add agendas or minutes from their last meeting to the site. How do we do that now? 'Cause I don't, like before it's,
Log in once, like make sure you log in and it has your case ID down on the left, and then email me like say, hey, I'm me, give me access. And then I can go in, find your case ID and give you access.
can you automatically just give all the VPs?
You have to log in at least once before I can.
Okay.
Because it essentially creates an account for you when you log in and put in your case ID on the single sign-on page, and it like creates an account for you on the website. So you have to log in once before I can do anything.
I see. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any questions can be referred to Vice President after. Thank you. All right. We'll now move into caucus reports. We'll start with the engineering caucus.
The engineering caucus met with Dean Tien this past Monday, and it actually went very well. It was a quick meeting, about 20 minutes. We talked about communication issues, issues with space, and issues with just getting things done with all the different reservable spaces that you have with the engineering school, and also talking about more study space in the future. We are also going to meet with James Eller about the 300 level SI support and that kind of thing. And right now, that's actually the two big things on our agenda, so I'm moving to points.
Yeah, did you speak at all about like what's happening in engineering room or no?
No, yeah, quite a bit. I didn't want to drag it out because this would be like 10 minutes long if I did. So if you have questions, talk to me later. But there will be minutes coming out to the engineering caucus, and then we'll also, of course, talk about it at our next caucus meeting.
Okay.
So, said. Okay.
Any other points? Thank you. Moving to the arts and sciences caucus.
We had our coffee and comments last week. It was pretty successful. Not as successful as the first one, but still got a good number of comments. And next month, we're going to be doing collated comments, and I'm hoping to maybe do it in partnership with some of the other caucuses.
Sounds good.
Engineering caucus, maybe we can use them together. But other than that, I'm hoping points.
Any points? Seeing none, we'll move to the Weathered School of Management caucus.
Okay, I think this week we already sent out our survey to all the Weatherhead students. So if you received the email about the survey, please just submit it. We will give out the coupon from the Qdoba. And also tomorrow at PBL, all day long, we will set up the table at the first floor of the PBL, and we will give out the candies. So if you have time, just stop by. We will do two things. The first is we will introduce ourselves, and the second thing is we will filling out more surveys and to get more comments. So any open point? Yep.
Is that all day?
It's around 10 to 4, I think.
Okay. Any other points? Seeing none, is there anybody to represent the nursing caucus? Anyone from the first year caucus?
Last week we had a fun, productive, and appetizing meeting in L3. And we decided that we will have ice cream and popsicles under a tent for the feedback event. And then we will have that by the ugly statue. And we may also have Dean Scherger and Dean Amon for some feedback as well.
Sounds good.
And we'll also post that feedback into the portfolio we're creating for the upcoming first year classes.
That's good.
And moving forward.
Any points? Okay, seeing none, we'll move from caucus reports to old business. We will now be still taking nominations for the Case School of Engineering representative position that is open. Is there any nominations at this time? Representative Lupton?
Yeah, Kevin J. Vick.
Wasn't he nominated before?
Yeah, but you have to be nominated again.
No, but I don't think he's been nominated. He was a representative a year ago, and I talked to him, and he'd be interested in serving as a representative probably for the remaining week.
Sounds good. For the remaining month.
I bet it's on.
Any other nominations? Okay. If this person accepts, we'll have an election next week. If not, we will continue to have nominations. Thank you so much. Okay. If there's not any other old business, we move to new business. All right, we're now in new business. Is there any new business with the floor? Representative Fernandez.
Moving to introduce Bill B19-09.
Is there a second? All right. Is there a speaker in the pro? Can you put it up?
It's connected.
No. Like.
I know, I'm gonna move it.
Okay.
All right. It's the first time I've been up here all year, and so I'm very excited. Okay, guys. So I have my bill in the agenda, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but if anybody has any comments about that first, it basically just says, you know, the judicial board is in charge of, let's see if I can move this over. There we go. This is Appendix A. Should make it smaller. Decrease the size, yeah, I know. There we go. Can't click it now. It's not moving.
Skylar, can you assist? Thanks.
Yeah, can you assist me in this endeavor?
Can you keep explaining while you explain?
Yeah, I'm going.
Thank you.
So basically, it just says that the judicial board is in charge of doing a constitutional review every year, and the problems that we found overall with the Constitution this year basically were punctuation issues, organization issues, and completeness, meaning there were things that we discussed during the year that were missing from this Constitution, which we added. So I will go through those now. I did send it in an email to everybody. Unfortunately, it didn't get printed. I apologize for that. This is the appendix, though.
Is that showing everything?
Yeah. If you can decrease it. There we go. Nice.
Oh, no,
Too
no.
far. Beautiful. Okay, but now I can't see it. Okay, well, I'll go here. Anyways, so first one's really, really simple. It was just a comma missing right after General Assembly in the second line, so it's very simple. Unfortunately, we do have to...
For the interest of time, could you just highlight the major changes regarding them?
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
I really can't see anything.
You're right there. That's what you want.
Okay, here's one big one. Article 3, Section D. So originally, we have been electing first-year representatives from each house. The judicial board found it kind of distressing that we were having to fill vacancies multiple times, and we thought it was harder to fill freshman vacancies because it was restricted to the houses. So we opened it up to keeping the same number, 11 representatives, 1 commuter rep, but instead we would be electing 3 representatives from the entire residential college instead of 1 from each house. Yes?
Does Mistletoe still have 4?
No, that one's sophomore.
No. So it would still be the same number of representatives, but it would be elected differently. This is to eliminate the time in which it takes to fill vacancies because one house does not have a rep. So if there are no questions on that, I will continue. Is there a question? Yeah.
And
hall before having to resort to 3 from any of the residence halls? I feel like it should be given priority that they be to each residence hall if there's a candidate. So first you're saying you want to, and then in the fall, we first elect one from every house, but then in case of a vacancy, we open it up to all 3. That's a possibility.
So the bill is being introduced today. It's going to be tabled for 1 week due to our Constitution. And then it's going to be brought up for discussion and voting next week. So that's when you can propose amendments to these amendments, which will then be ratified and then added to the Constitution. Okay, keep that in mind. Please keep your comments, questions just for the speaker. Representative Bagat.
My question would be, is there any way we can word it so, let's say maybe 2 years from now, Cutler is added back into mistletoe. Is there any way we can word it so?
That can be an amendment that's proposed during discussion next week. Questions for clarification, please.
Okay.
Let's proceed.
So the one here with the section thing, B, C, D, and E, the situation with that is that we added, I'll show you what it is, we added section D, and then after we added it, we changed the order in which those things came in. So I'll show you what D is first. This article talks about basically how the membership of USG is set up. And so D is where we added, this is what would come after we changed the last amendment that I showed you. Section D, the first year students caucus will be elected out of the residence halls, with 1 representative for each residence hall, and an additional representative elected by and for commuting first year students, excuse me. So, I mean, if we decide to change it the way Representative Teshley suggested, this would also change. But in addition to that, the order had been different. You can look at that on your own. The order was different, and so we've put it in an order that it would make more sense chronologically, first describing how the representatives are, the number of representatives is chosen, which colleges you will have representatives, and then going into more detail. So if there are any brief questions about that. Okay. Continuing on, this is just the order. I was showing the order in which the new Constitution would have this down. Okay, and then simply there, he and she instead of just he. And here, okay, so for Article 3, Section I, this was one big paragraph before. Instead, what we did was the rule, the last 2 lines, which states that the president and vice president of finance must have served on USG for at least 1 previous semester. We made that a separate section so that it would be more visible and distinct. Is there any questions about that, having done that? And then after that, any letters, any sections that came after that would just keep following down. Yes?
So is that implying that the president and VP of finance must have served on USG the semester previous?
Right, so the USG president has to have served on USG.
Okay. So it would be like if someone were to be abroad for the spring semester of their junior year but was on USG in the fall, they would not be eligible.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if the wording says that.
Would you like to?
Well, just the way I would, at least 1 previous semester meeting that say somebody who served on it an entire year ago but didn't serve on it this year could still run. So you might have to.
So you're saying when they were present in the university, they had served, but then she's saying they went abroad.
They went abroad a semester, they weren't here, and then they run for president.
So would you like more clarification on that then?
Yes, I don't know the wording, but just maybe clarify that a little better.
Okay, I can do that.
Representative Hoffman.
But, I mean, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't last year when we were trying to find someone to run for VP Finance, it was anyone who had a semester on finance, so we were looking back at someone had served on finance as a freshman and now they were a junior and they were interested in running as VP Finance, like, isn't that how we interpreted it then? So does that mean we're changing the interpretation by saying, like, you had to serve in the immediate past semester? But do we want to make that change?
I think that's a question for discussion during.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll continue. This is a big change here, Article 3, Section J, that exec discussed, and you might have seen it in exec minutes, that we would now like to include the speaker to be appointed in the spring as well, and so we had to include that into the Constitution now. The additional change So yeah, so it's written there, secretary, treasurer, and speaker. And then we deleted the line that said that it would be elected in the fall, or appointed, excuse me, in the fall. So that was just that change. And here's just a wording change. A lot of things that we found in the Constitution was a lot of redundancy, not only within like same paragraphs, but like throughout the Constitution. So we tried to eliminate that. And Article 4 here, it said the parliamentary may enforce as understood was twice in the same paragraph, so we took that out. Here in Article 4, Section D is an attendance thing. The only change is in point 1, an absence shall be defined as not being present at the meeting for at least 45 minutes after initial roll call, or 1/2 of the meeting, whichever is greater. We didn't find that made much sense, so we changed it to whichever is less. Are there any questions about that? Make sense? Okay. That's the change right there. Okay, the only change on Article 4, Section I was that we added any of, because it seemed like, it sounded like if all of those offices had vacated, then,
Please, major changes. They can read the small changes
okay,
later.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's just a deletion. I feel this is important. It's important for us to state in the Constitution that proxies are also allowed to vote, because sometimes it's a misconception. So that was not included, and so we just added that. This is just a wording change. Anytime where it said subject to Article X and Section something, we deleted that as well. We didn't find that was necessary to have to keep going back to something else. So we took that out. Okay, here's an important one. We've given one additional responsibility to, or rather 2 responsibilities to the secretary, and that's indicated in point 2. So in addition, the secretary will be responsible for transitioning new representatives, meaning like if there's a vacancy, this new representative needs to know about the workings of USG and about get a rep manual and things like that. So the secretary would be responsible for transitioning that new rep. And University Archives, we found out that they can take it's this big department that I don't know where University Archives is, but they can take our agendas, they can take our minutes and things like that, and those are considered archivable. So, and that'd be great to see that USG can continue its history in the archives and whatnot. So the secretary would be responsible for giving those documents to the archives. What else? Yeah.
Is there, anywhere, does there exist a policy or like a procedure for how to do that? I mean, is there gonna, because like, it can be confusing. I know if I looked at that, if I was secretary, I would have no idea. So I mean, is there any kind of direction with that for the secretary?
The secretary would be, I think, once they can make communication with the archive, they'd establish a system of how to do that. I don't know how that works, and I don't think that would be appropriate to put that into our Constitution.
I wasn't necessarily saying for the Constitution, I was just saying, does it exist somewhere else?
There's definitely a way. I know there are a lot of observers, like copies of the Observer that are archivable. So there's definitely procedure for doing that, and the new secretary would learn about that. Just a point, this is a minor change, but only in the sense that it's everywhere. It's one word, but it's everywhere. A lot of the places it said to act for the USG or something with the USG, we changed that to General Assembly to make it more specific, because USG versus General Assembly has more responsibility than all of USG does, because all of USG includes, at-large representatives and people and other students who generally serve on committees but are not elected representatives. In addition to Article 9, which talks about the responsibility of the executive board, we added that the executive committee has the right to distribute funds for co-sponsorship, because we do, but that was missing, and that is one of the major responsibilities of the executive board.
Representative Pulaski.
Is it going to be specified from what funding pool? Because I know that comes out of the exec discretionary fund, which is also outlined somewhere. Is it going to be specified as that?
No, the co-sponsorship budget, it's a separate line. I don't know, the discretionary.
Okay. Here, Article 13, Section B. So we changed 2 things here. We changed from For referendums, we changed it from 20% to 10%, and we changed it from 1/2 to 2/3 because we felt that it should be made a little bit easier to get a referendum to at least be initiated. I mean, forget the, like, passing a referendum, to at least initiate it should be made easier so that we can at least get the input from the students and not have them shut down us trying to get input for them immediately. So we changed those to make those numbers smaller. So that's 10 to 2/3, and again, we made a percentage change in section C. So to make an amendment to this constitution, it would only again take 10% instead of 20 to make it easier to amend our constitution. But I mean, not to say that we were going to be amending it continuously, it's just so that there's more reception to making amendments. And that's all I have in terms of the critical stuff. Everything else is punctuation and wording, which you can look in your own time and then come talk to me.
Okay, any points? Any questions? All right, please look over this over the week. Granted. Please look over this over the week. We will be discussing this and voting on it next week. The Constitution is extremely important to the organization that is USG, so please look over this in detail. All right, thanks, Divya. Is there any other new business? Representative Mueller.
Motion to introduce resolution R19-1.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a speaker in the pro?
All right, guys. This bill is actually came out of a conversation that I had with Vice Provost Don Feek at the middle of last semester. There was a resolution, there was a bill that was passed, or a resolution that was passed 3 years ago, I believe. You can look it up in the archives. I also have a copy of it. But the original legislation said that for 3 days following fall break, there would be no assignments due. This was meant to have students actually enjoy their breaks, not stress over tests, not stress over large homework assignments, that kind of thing. And I talked with him about it, and he was of the opinion that it should be placed forward again, because I think the life of our legislation is 3 years on board.
4 years.
4 years, sorry. So this is just kind of getting it reintroduced, but also changing a couple things with it. The most noticeable is we're expanding it. It's not just fall break. It's fall, spring, and winter breaks. And I know there's a question about winter breaks, but there's actually been a couple assignments that students have said are due at the very beginning of when you come back after winter break. So that's why that's in there. There are actually a couple cases of that. The major points, I mean, there is only one item on this that says, for 2 days after the breaks that I just outlined, there are going to be no major assignments due. No tests, no major projects, things of that nature. And then the rest is just justification for it. Open points.
Representative Baisley?
In the appendix, does the second block asking about the midterms, does that pertain to this bill?
So the reason that was included was it was in the same survey, and I wanted students to see that the results of this, I wanted to be made a little more public because they took the survey. This is dealing also with actually some other things with academic affairs that was requested. But because it was in that same survey, I wanted it made public so students could see how that turned out. So I'm sorry if that's confusing. Maybe that should have been eliminated, which would have been my fault.
Representative Mueller? Moser. Man, struggling.
Do you think that people look at a bill that go exams on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday? Do you think that would be
That was heavily discussed, and that was a concern that we had, which is why I wanted the survey instead of just the open forum that we had. We wanted more student input from it. And if you would like, I can send the entire list of comments to GA. It's quite extensive if you want it. But with a strong showing of 83% of students still wanting this, even though we outlined and told them that one possible bad effect of this is you might have more stacking. We made sure that students were aware of that and explained that a little bit. But with 83%, we feel that the majority of student body is represented by this bill.
Representative Fernandez.
How's this going to be enforced?
Okay, that is another conversation that we are currently having. I talked with Donald Feek, Vice Provost Feek, excuse me, about this, and there are a couple ideas with the faculty and administrators going on right now, but I will be working with them with that. It's a little tricky because there's nothing in professors' contracts that states anything of this nature, and so working with FISCU and working with various administrators, we'll have to work out how that's going to be enforced. But the whole reason for this is to show the administration how students feel, and then we'll move from there.
Okay. Are there any other points? Thank you. Is there a speaker in the con? Seeing none, we'll move to discussion on resolution R19-11. Is there any points for discussion? Vice President Thompson. Discussion will last for approximately 4 minutes.
Move to amend any place where it says fall, winter, and spring breaks to fall, winter, summer, and spring breaks.
Okay. Representative Lupton.
I originally was against this bill, just because I like having things every break. But after, thinking about it again, most teachers, how it is right now, if you have assignments, if you have 3 tests on one day and the whole class says, actually, we're all loaded right now, usually the teacher will be pretty understanding and say, okay, we'll move it for a week ahead. See, the tough part is when teachers assign something for after break, no student in the right mind will say, hey, let's actually move it, let's bring it back before break. So the reason why I like this bill is because if there is stacking, you could, as a class, probably, change that, by talking with the professor, and I guess I've changed, and I think that this is something good.
Okay.
to pass.
Any other points for discussion? Representative Baisley.
Can I make amendments now?
You can.
Okay. I have a couple of amendments I'm going to propose. First amendment, I move to amend the appendix to include the introduction to the survey that states the policy the students will present with. Because right now, the question just says, are you in favor of this policy? And it's not clear what the students saw and what
Okay.
they're voting on. So
Is that
that's my
friendly?
first amendment.
Okay.
Second amendment, I would move to remove the second plot.
For clarification, it's also.
Okay. And then a third amendment, the last one, I move to insert a whereas clause. I'm not sure, the location I'm not sure, but the whereas clause would read, whereas a survey of the undergraduate student body shows students are highly in favor of a policy limiting academic work immediate following breaks. And then see appendix A. I want a whereas clause that describes that students voted and would like this.
Okay. Is that friendly? And can you repeat the amendment, please?
If it's friendly, I didn't know if we should go. Whereas a survey of the undergraduate student body shows students are highly in favor of a policy limiting academic work immediately following breaks. Maybe either the last word, maybe after the last or prior to the last word. I'm not sure.
Can you repeat it again?
The second part. Yeah. Whereas a survey of the undergraduate student body shows students are highly in favor of a policy limiting academic work.
You need to go slower.
Oh, sorry, okay.
Highly favor.
Are highly in favor of a policy limiting academic work immediately following breaks.
Thank you.
Okay. Representative Pulaski.
I'm not exactly sure how I would like to see it reworded, but I feel as though the title of the resolution is gives kind of connotations that we're not responsible for our work during those breaks. I feel like it should be worded something to the effect of like a resolution to limit coursework in the time immediately following academic holiday, academic breaks.
Is that, are you proposing?
I don't know exactly how I want to be worded, but I am suggesting that we could discuss a nice rewording of that.
Are there any comments from the author?
If you say a limit, or a resolution to limit assignments is, I guess, the only word that's coming to mind right now, or
coursework.
Yeah, I would say major coursework. A resolution to limit major coursework. Yeah, something to that effect, immediately following fall, winter, and
That's too broad. It's too broad. Okay, so are you going to propose an amendment then?
So I propose to change this resolution, the title to a resolution to limit. Sorry, I gotta write this down, make sure it looks right. Sorry. Say academic workload. I'm asking the assembly.
What about significant coursework? Because major coursework implies like your major.
In the be it resolved, we have evaluated work. I don't know.
A resolution to limit significant coursework immediately following fall, winter, summer, and spring breaks.
Okay.
Should it be fall, winter, spring, summer?
Okay. Is that friendly, Vice President Wang?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on, Vice President Nguyen.
I also have something here, kind of a rewording, because I reread this whereas clause number 4, and it was kind of really confusing to me. So I am suggesting, or I move to amend to change the rewording for whereas clause 4 to be whereas the inability to access student resources such as, complete all those, is, so basically that's it. So just to change the beginning, because otherwise it sounds really. So again, it is whereas the inability to access student resources such as
Okay. Any other points for discussion? Representative Bell.
Well, I'm not sure if this would be a move to amend, but could you just say, put a timestamp on the graph, because we actually got another response late last night, so we have 339 responses. Yeah, so I didn't looking at it right now, we have a 339 response at,
So are you proposing an amendment to put a timestamp on?
yeah.
Okay. Is that friendly?
That's fine.
Thank you. Representative Hoffman.
So, I mean, this is more of a point for discussion than, but after talking about this with the engineering caucus a lot and kind of general members of USG, also keep in mind that it doesn't mean we can't have assignments like forever after a break. It just means like it says 2 days. 2 days. So that means you can still have a test on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of the week after like spring or fall break. So it just means like not the Monday or Tuesday when you get right back. And so like think about it, like keep that in mind too.
Thank you.
So we're hoping that if things don't get backloaded the week before, just that a professor would move a test from the Tuesday when you get back to a Thursday.
Okay. Discussion has definitely ran over. Discussion is now ended. I will entertain a motion to either table or vote on the bill. Representative Baisley. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. We will now vote on General Assembly Resolution R 19-11 as amended. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the resolution passes.
Yes.
All right. Is there any new business for the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move into open forum. 4 minutes for open forum. Representative Lupton.
Yeah, something's kind of been on my mind recently. I know, I guess in Twing, there's been something that just been put in. It's the LGBTQ half section of Twing. The reason why I wanted to bring this up, because I know President Snyder, I mean, it's great for the university, inclusion, non-discriminatory. But the one thing that I'm just curious about is, you know, what are all the pros and cons of having it as half of our student center? I just don't know, just looking at, is it gonna do anything for incoming students that this might, I don't know, I just wanted to bring it up for discussion on like, maybe some positive negatives of having it. The reason why I'm thinking this is because I just feel that the Student Center is inclusive by default because it's everyone's Student Center. And I just feel that, the things that are in controversy are, politics, religion, moral issues. I don't want to get into a moral discussion here. I just feel that, the religious institutions, they do their prayer at a different facility. And I just feel that, I know this isn't really a religious issue. I just think, is it right to have it, I just want to open it for discussion.
Just for clarification purposes, Twing is more of a stopgap student center. It's not really the student center. The university is working to build a university center. So Twing will still be, hopefully when that day happens, hopefully sometime soon, Twing will still be in use, and then the student center will be another building. So, okay. Representative Downing?
So I've seen several things in the Case Daily thing that says that Case is ranked one of the most friendly places for LGBT, which is great. We should keep going with that, and maybe a center is the right move with that. But I guess my only con with this is space is at a premium, like big time. So is this, how's this going to affect student groups that meet there regularly? How much space is actually being taken up, I guess, is my question. Because I don't really know that, all just construction. So.
Okay. Representative Bagat.
I'm not interested in that point, but I'm interested in, thank you. I read the comment letter to the editor in the Observer, and I thought it was a valid point that the student was making, saying that the student wasn't necessarily against having an LGBT center, but he was wondering where's the center for other minority students as well. There is the Office of Multicultural Affairs, but it's not the same as having the same center for maybe just all minority students as well. If you opened it up for a center for minority students instead, I feel like that's a valid.
Okay, thank you. Representative Pulaski?
I think that in reading a lot of the emails, seeing a lot of the Case Daily, Case is really trying to make it a priority to cater to students who aren't, the typical student. And I think that because we don't have a centralized student center, like you have to realize that the Office of Multicultural Affairs is in Sears. Like the Office for Inclusion, Diversity, and Equal Opportunity is in this building. The LGBTQA Center is now in Twing. And hopefully, like all of these offices that are great resources to students who are of minority status will be in the same building someday and will be next to each other and accessible and can program together. But for now, if you go into Twing during the regular business hours, that center, that side of Twing is very rarely inhabited by more than maybe one or two students quietly eating their lunch, sitting on a computer, where those students, it probably wouldn't bother them much to sit in the atrium instead. I think it's a great use of space, and I've also heard people suggest that, like, just because that space is now an office, it may still be like reservable and used for programming, especially for programs that target LGBTQ programming at nighttime. So it's not like it's sucking up a whole ton of space. There's still a lot of use for that center for that specific programming.
Okay, I encourage you to.
Clarification. Is it just the bottom floor, or is it the bottom and top floor of that center?
It's just the bottom floor.
Okay.
Okay, I encourage you to continue this conversation outside of GA. In the interest of time, we'll move forward. Any other points for open forum? Representative Downey.
So I was on top of the hill a little bit ago, and I know this is last year when I was living there, but it's gotten worse. The sign for Carlton Commons is like half of it's gone.
What do you mean?
Carlton Commons, like it's all lit up. Are there any sophomores at the top that you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Like half
The letters
sign,
are missing.
The letters are gone.
Okay.
It doesn't light up in the middle. It looks pretty bad. So I don't know. This is student life. I don't know if this is IT or what. 'Cause I think it was actually a student project that put it in. But just getting that work on. I can take that.
Any other points for open forum? Representative Hoffman.
I just wanted to hear if other people thought this was a concern factor of the new performing arts space. And I know it's probably not going to affect us too strongly, but that area of campus, or like Wade Lagoon, has been the the location of a lot of security reports. And for people going to practices and like classes early in the morning, late at night, maybe in like theater classes aren't known as like the most, you know, huge classes, like, oh, everyone's going to walk together. Like, does anyone else feel concerned a little bit with the location of that area? I mean, not saying like,
For clarification purposes, security was drastically increased around the area. There are now security cameras and more patrols, so that has been addressed. So, any points regarding this, Representative Lupton?
I think by having it, it'll bring more security. So if there is issues, it'll increase security.
Okay, Representative Nguyen. I mean, Vice President Nguyen. Forgive me.
I'm sure, I don't know if you guys are aware, but the university also has a West Side quad as well that is a part of the student university that most students don't know about. I think the initial point in kind of having this performing arts center there is kind of a step in getting us to kind of open up the campus to this West quad as well. So I'm pretty sure that they're aware that if they want students to be at these areas, that they're going to make sure that these places are safe for students. I can't guarantee you that it's going to happen immediately, but I will say that that's why we're here. If there are incidents that we know that there should be more lighting, then the next VP of Student Life, for sure, that should be a topic that should be discussed, or that if security is not well, maintained there. So that's basically our job, to maintain that as well as theirs. So.
Okay. For the interest of time, we'll move forward with other points on open forum. You can continue this discussion after. Any other points for open forum, Vice President Thompson?
So I was in Gravitt today, and the cashier was repeatedly announcing that starting tomorrow, backpacks will be banned in Gravitt. Like the actual shopping area where you get your food. I personally think this is completely ridiculous. Does anybody have any thoughts or why this is happening? Has there been issues?
I mean, my only rationale would be like it backs up the line. It makes people hard to get. It makes things hard. But I don't know, Representative Hammond.
They take extra and put it in their backpack, put it in their side pocket.
Okay. Representative Moser.
I just think it'd be ridiculous though if they have to pick up their backpacks, like during the busy times, it already is so chaotic and so when there's huge lines to pick up your backpack, I think that's just there's no place to put anything either, it's small.
Vice President Thompson.
I'm personally willing to subsidize any losses that might have to occur from somebody stealing a cookie rather than getting my laptop stolen. I'm not leaving my backpack there.
It's valid. So, we can look into it. All right. Any other points for open forum? We'll take one more, and then if you want something else, please tell Amy to put in the agenda. Okay? Representative Zhang.
I'm not sure whether that is possible for to put there is a bus station near the PBL. Is that possible for us to have a little box about how many times another bus will come in that bus?
So a GPS.
Yeah, because I know a lot of kids, they always take the granny from PBL to the south side, and they always wait for over 20 minutes. Okay. Because some of them don't have the GPS on their.
Noted.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Unless there is any urgent need, we'll move forward in the agenda. By how long?
2 minutes.
Granted.
I've noticed this a lot really frequently. I'll go up to the top of the hill, right after you get off the elephant stairs, there's a kiosk there. There's just always garbage bags around there late at night, around 8 to 10. There's garbage bags there. I don't think that's very sanitary for the campus. And I was wondering if we could look into maybe disposing of that.
Vice President Nguyen.
Have you ever tried calling the security facilities customer service number that I sent out to the GA, asking them?
I did not get that number.
I will give it to everyone right now. Let's see. 216-368, and then straight down the middle, 2580.
Thank you. Representative Pulaski, last point.
So I think this is important to mention in open forum where it really is a discussion of our General Assembly. And I know that it came up last year because during campaign period, we'd accidentally planned to have canvassing of the sophomore residence halls, and it fell during campaign period. And we did choose to stop it because we felt it was kind of an abuse of power to be going into people's spaces, asking them questions, but also there's no doubt that it kind of does promote yourself when you're introducing yourself. So I just would encourage people to be really mindful of that, especially I know Weatherhead's having an event, not to use your position this year as leverage in that situation. I personally feel it's not really appropriate to say, hey, I'm really interested in what you see as problems within the Weatherhead caucus, but vote for me. So just please be mindful of that. Respect your position this year primarily because that's what you were elected to and campaign on your own time.
Agreed. All right. So we are done with open forum. We're going to move forward in the agenda. Colleen is not here. Just so you guys are aware, her son has appendicitis and he got his appendix removed this morning. So they're over at Rainbow Babies. He's just recovering, so she'll be out for I think another day or two. But yep. So our announcements, Amy, if you want to highlight those.
Just two, that elections end on Friday, March 26th at 11:59. So remind your voting constituents, and free Qdoba if you vote on Thursday in the USG office from 11:30 to 1 p.m. So.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Unless there are any other announcements, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Vice President Wang.
Academic Affairs will meet 6 on Wednesday. Hopefully you can talk to me.
Thank you. Representative Hammond. Granted. Shangbo, if you need announcements, submit them to her.
And if you're making announcements like that, you should be telling the committee.
Yeah, you should. You have an email list for a reason. Come on.